Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the Working Class Musicians vlog. Today I'm going to talk about why you need a teacher. And mostly this is going to apply to absolute beginners, but experienced pros, you'll understand what we talk about a little bit later. But there's so much information out on the internet right now. There are so many good teachers, so many good lessons online. There's so much to learn that you might wonder, why do I even need to go to my local music store and get a music teacher? Well, as it happens, I'm on my way right now to teach private lessons at the local music store. And it's a wonderful thing for me and the students. I get a lot out of it. It's a rewarding thing to do. But I want to talk about really like the reasons behind it. In particular for beginners, you want to go to an instructor in person. Really, the main reason for that is because you want to make sure that you don't develop bad habits early on in the beginning that'll stick with you. And the bad habits aren't necessarily in your technique, in your hands or your fingers as you might think. One of the most common bad habits that new students have is not practicing rhythm, not training, not learning rhythmically. It's amazing how many beginning students just completely neglect rhythm altogether. When you're learning a new piece, you're really slow. You're trying to learn new chords, trying to learn a song on a piano. You're very slow. First you have to find the notes, and then you have to figure out how to play them correctly and in the correct order. So you're really slow. So what you end up doing is you get a certain little section down, you play fast, you play it fast, and then you take another minute and a half to figure out the next portion, and it sounds very choppy, and you don't really develop a good sense of rhythm. So a teacher is going to sit there and really instill these habits into you, that while you practice, you're focused on rhythm. Another thing that students' bad habits are focusing on the wrong things. Everybody is unique. Each person has their own goals and what they want to accomplish musically. So there's not just a one-size-fits-all sort of lesson. And with the amount of content that's available out there right now, you can easily get lost, distracted, practicing the wrong things. And that's another habit that a good teacher will instill in you, is to have a plan, have a goal, have an agenda, and work towards that. And not waste time on stuff that doesn't really matter to you, even at this point. Now, the third thing is you gotta find somebody who motivates you to practice and improve. You have to be motivated, because it's challenging to pick up a new instrument, to learn a new skill. It takes some time, and you're going to experience some setbacks. You're going to face a lot of challenges along the way. And really, the cost of private lessons at your local music store, they're relatively affordable. If you can afford an electric guitar and an amplifier to get you started, you can probably afford a few months worth of lessons to get you started. And that's the critical time period, really, is the first 90 days. If you can develop good practice habits and an appreciation for the instrument, and find a way that you can really enjoy playing it and learning, in the first 90 days, you're much more likely to stick with that instrument and master. Once you get the basics down, and you learn how to practice, you learn how to learn with good habits, then at that point it's really simple to go ahead and take some online courses, learn some songs on your own, and develop the individual skills that you want to develop. And at that point, it's a really good idea to always have your end goal in mind. Write out your goal. What do you want to do? Do you want to play rock guitar in a band? Write original music? Then you don't want to be taking lessons from a jazz instructor, right? Do you want to be able to read music and be a session player? Do you want to play in an orchestra? Do you want to play in a piano bar? These are all things to consider as to how you approach learning to play the piano or the guitar. Are you going to sing in a choir? Are you going to sing praise, worship? Do you want to sing on Broadway? Do you want to be a rock singer? Do you want to sing your own songs? Do you want to be a rap artist? You know, you're going to have different teachers, different methods for each of those. But you can always build a good solid foundation by going to a local music store, taking a few lessons, a handful of lessons. When I was first starting out on guitar, I was about 11 or 12 years old, and I had probably a dozen or so lessons right off the bat. My parents bought me a guitar, an electric guitar with a little practice amp, and they bought me a handful of lessons at the music store. And I think at the time, I mean, this is 30 years ago, or damn near 30 years ago, it was like $10 a lesson. You know? I think now you can get them roughly around $20 a lesson. So why not? And what I learned early on in those stages stuck with me. I developed those good habits because the teacher was there to help guide me. Now, if you're more experienced, what happens is you've learned a lot of songs. You've learned some pentatonic boxes, and you can jam and you can solo, but you get stuck in a rut. And for those guys, you might need an instructor in person to help you get through those ruts, to help you see things in a different way. Somebody that you can sit there and ask questions to, real questions, and not just follow some pre-outlined course. So that can be really helpful. And a lot of good instructors and teachers will offer Skype lessons now. It's good to have somebody there you can bounce ideas off and share your experiences with, and to motivate you and get you started on the right path. So I highly recommend getting a private instructor. Take a few lessons, take a handful of lessons, 12, 20, however many you need, to learn how to practice, develop good practice habits, and also how to learn. Once an instructor teaches you how to practice on your own and how to learn on your own, then you're off and running. Now you're not going to waste time on YouTube or waste time on an online course that you can't understand. A lot of problem with the lessons online that I find is they either go too fast, they're too complicated, or they don't go in depth enough. They leave a lot of unanswered questions. They assume that you have a certain degree of proficiency. I remember watching Paul Gilbert's VHS back in the 80s, early 90s, maybe, trying to learn intense rock. And that stuff was intense. I didn't understand a lot of it, but I just followed along, did the best we could, because we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have internet lessons back then. So it was that, and then John Petrucci's had a video too, John Petrucci. So we learned from them. Unless you had a really good instructor in your local town. But I'm going to teach lessons right now. They teach all kinds of lessons here. We have a lot of great instructors here that teach brass, woodwinds, drums, guitar, bass, ukulele, voice, piano, you name it, harmonica. And what better gift than to start somebody on their journey, a lifelong journey of musicianship. So, music lessons are a great gift too. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.